Well, I said Aeon Genesis released 5 games. This is the second of those 5. This is The Great Battle 2, Last Fighter Twin. Alright, hello and welcome to Now in English. We are continuing Aeon Genesis's rampage of translation with The Great Fighter 2. It's been half a century since the last game came out. Welcome to the next one. You know what? Does anybody ever see, like, every time you see the words climate control, you just start thinking Phantasy Star? Oh man, Gundam F91, far and away the most popular Gundam there is. I am, of course, joking. Gundam F91 is the Gundam series to have the dishonorable honor of being the only one whose only series is actually just one movie. Like, they were going to make a series about it, but it got canceled. And so, he got to make, Yoshiyuki Tamino got to make a movie about it, but that's... movie only runs like, I don't know, let's see, 120 minutes at max. That's really only going to be like 6 episodes. You can't have a Gundam episode in 6 episodes. You can barely have a Gundam episode in 13. Anyway, that brings us to The Great Battle 2, Last Fighter Twin. We begin, as we always do, by checking out the options menu. Difficulty. Well, you'd think we could pull our usual trick of setting it to easy, but unfortunately there is no easy. 1P controls. Oh, interesting. This seems to imply that you could play with a friend. And audio out, just in case you... I don't really know what the whole mono out is for. I mean, I guess some people have TVs where you could only have mono sound, but then you'd still just choose stereo and kind of, well... I guess, yeah, maybe there are things where it's like it's only in one channel versus another and you'd actually kind of lose out. So that's kind of disappointing. Oh, new Gundam. So we could have... So new Gundam's around, so we could have played as new Gundam, but no. Gundam F91. Well, I've played enough Super Robot Wars to know that it's actually kind of a cool Gundam. But it is unfortunately inferior to Crossbones Gundam. And you'll notice the first... Oh, okay. Never mind, I love this game, because you start out as a Gundam player. Last game, we started playing out as Ultraman. I still don't know who Ultraman is. Maybe we played as... I don't know any of those super robots. Anyway, first main change, it's no longer an action platformer Zelda-style game. Now, it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up. This difference is... This difference sounds more of a difference than it actually is, because the other game basically kind of played like a beat-em-up anyway. It's just now they actually tailor the control schemes to actually work like a beat-em-up. Aren't you guys gonna do that cool thing? Did you see that last group of enemies, how they like came on screen? Like one of them, he just kind of runs a little bit faster just to get to the other side of me. But I don't know, I just find that cute for some reason. He just kind of like does his hardest to like run and try to flank me, and it's like, you know I'm gonna beat you anyway. What are we pretending for here? Oh, now I remember what's missing from that options menu. Life select. So unfortunately we only have 2 lives. So I guess if we want to make any sort of decent progress in this game, we're gonna have to be good at it. So, like you may expect, we may not progress very far. But at least we can take note of that sweet parallax scrolling. I don't know, people nowadays may not appreciate parallax scrolling because they've played a whole bunch of 3D games and they're just like, oh man, isn't that just how things work naturally? But back in the day, you had to program in parallax scrolling yourself. And it used to be, back in the old Nintendo days, or so I've seen, I'm old, but I'm not that old, then like, there just would be no parallax scrolling at all. It would just, the scrolling background would literally just be a scrolling background. And I hear tell of darker days than that, back in, I don't know, Commodore times, when, like, the background of the screen wouldn't even scroll. You would progress from, like, one stage to the next. Like you'd have a background, but it would be completely static, and you would progress from one screen to the next. That is absolutely absurd. You know, it dawns on me that we have 4 buttons, and jumping should probably be on there. Well, just like in most beat-em-ups, jumping is a distraction. It's kind of unfortunate that there aren't, like jumping isn't always like a freebie in every beat-em-up. But I think that's because in the first few beat-em-ups, jumping was sort of a freebie, and so they're like, oh, we're wise to your tricks. We'll make jumping useless in every other beat-em-up. But we won't make it consistently useless, because then you learn how to expect it. You know, this game is very monotonous. Is there any sort of special move? Like, I'm collecting these special orbs, like, you'd think there'd be a point. But, maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, I'm playing as Gundam, so I can't really complain. Come on, maybe like a Shoryuken or something? Oh, so we really do only have 3 lives. Not that I was expecting I was joking or anything, but I, well, was hoping against hope that we would get more. Interestingly enough, so if you jump and press kick, you jump and kick. Well, okay, that sounds reasonable. But if you jump and press punch, you don't. Also, if you press jump and then jump, you can kind of hop up and down, like you're more excited than you should be to be here. I'm not entirely sure what this backscape is supposed to be. Like, I'm not entirely sure what the conceit of this whole SD series is. It's like, are they supposed to be like just regular characters in real life? Are they supposed to be in like cartoonized versions of their worlds? I don't know. It's an interesting series. It must be. They made 5 of them. Okay, well, maybe the power-up orbs, it's like if you collect enough of them, then maybe you get a power-up. If not, well, fair enough. Oh, see, he did it. That poor little blue guy, he just kind of like runs his heart out to try and get behind me. It doesn't do him any good, but I love that he's trying. Unlike the rest of this game, I mean, honestly, even the first one at least had like floating islands to be distracted by, but this game, it's just this. Oh my gosh, we haven't even moved from this screen. This is the 3rd set of enemies on this one frame. You remember when I was talking about how games have progressed so far and like background scroll? Well, they've suddenly found a way to regress because this background has not scrolled at all. Oh, okay, so when the screen finally scrolled, maybe it was worth it? Question mark? Well, at least the background is constantly scrolling, making, well, I'd say use, not good use, but use of the Super Nintendo's Mode 7. But, I mean, it's supposed to be the world, or maybe the colony they're on, but it kind of just looks like a giant blobby green and blue thing spinning in the background. Oh, and finally a boss. Now, I thought the boss would have been at the beginning of this level, but hey, you gotta learn patience. Oh, wait, who's speaking what lines? Like, should there be a name tag in front that lets you know that, there's one guy speaking versus the other? Well, his health bar is suspiciously short, so that makes you think you have hope. Yeah, nope, don't get too happy, because, that if the health bar is a different color, if you learn anything about beat-em-up games, that means he has a whole nother health bar. It really doesn't help that we can't combo him whatsoever. And attempting to do so is actually incredibly unsafe. Oh wow, so once you make a jump, you are committed. But on the bright side, that means we can kind of just jump diagonally and give him a kick. And if we're not, then we're not in any sort of danger. This is one of the few games where your tactics can be cheaper than the boss. Just remember, you can't air punch. Don't ask questions. Just air kick. And we're done. Oh, energy. Just what I needed to refill all of my lost health. Oh, maybe something happens if you press select. Oh no, new Gundam, you can't die. If you die, then I can't play as you. Of course, the game has to wait until it's a certain distance away. Then you can... flapping their wings. That's actually pretty funny. Wait, isn't that the white base? Isn't that a good guy ship? Also, for some reason, the last place, like the last screen, you had to press A button to get to the next page. But there, it kind of scrolled automatically. And now we're back to me having to press A to get to the next one. Well, I mean, the screen is scrolling in the background on its own volition. So I guess that technically counts as a screen scrolling in the background. But of course, that's skirting the rules. Oh, so you can knock people off the stage. I wouldn't. Oh, and that means we got a time limit. that's a pretty ominous time limit if you think about it. Oh my god, it dinged me an entire life for just falling off the thing. I don't know if this is level 2, but if it's not level 2, I don't think we're making it to level 2. Come on, guys. I'm on a schedule here. So, pressing select lets you change between your characters. It's hilarious because you press select, the game pauses for a second, and then it selects the next character. Like, you don't even get to select who you're choosing. Well, like, it's not even taking you to a menu where you select the next person and you're just waiting for it to load or something. No, it just straight up takes a second to load the new sprite into memory or something. Like, there's something suspicious about this game. There's also something suspicious about this game's difficulty. Maybe they decided to make this one super hard because, like, they were hearing reports of people beating the other one too quickly. They needed to get that rental money. And now we're inside. You'd think that would make us immune to the walkway being destroyed. You'd think. And guess what? Being inside is almost exactly the same as being outside. And what do you know? We're still not safe. Come on, guys. I don't want to die that quickly. Guys, where'd you go? And the enemies look a little different, but they don't act any different. Did anybody notice that they're called Red Kings, but they're not red at all? Oh, and that was cheap. Granted, I've done that to them too, but... Oh! I get credits. Okay, so I press start. Oh. Okay. So many weird things have been happening here. I press start, and then the entire game paused, rather than having me continue. Then I press start again, and the game let me continue. Please, please. Oh, I'll even play as Ultramoth. Come on, just let me not die. You know, it strikes me that losing a life is not the best way of not losing a life. Oh, thanks, game. Thanks for making this completely winnable. Oh, don't tell me I respawn and die. Oh, I have to continue first. Okay, sure. Now you'll give me a tiny little sliver of walkway to stand on, and then you'll kill me right away. Thanks. One other discovery, though, while you're here. You can press the triggers to cycle through power levels, I guess. Unfortunately, I am one purple thing away from getting to level 3, I assume? I don't know what these power levels do. One would assume they would change the power of your attacks. But, well, it doesn't really bear out in evidence. Oh, what do you know? It's a boss. Finally, about time, even though the real boss were those platforms. Look at this Joker. He's like nothing at all. Not compared to those stupid platforms, which half the time wouldn't even let you stand. In fact, this guy even lets you combo on him. Something tells me he's not the real boss. But hey, maybe he is. Come on, go for broke, go for broke. This is kind of like in Battletoads, where you can like just really wail on the guys. Unfortunately, it also reminds me of Battletoads, where you have to wail on them. And to nobody's surprise, he was a fake boss. Well, actually, to my surprise, he was a real boss. Time for level 3. Well, I'm down to literally my last life. I believe I used all of my credits. So things are not looking great. But this is about where I got to last time anyway, so... Well, what do you know? We got the first capsule. Only 3 more to go. So we're now a quarter of the way through the game. Oh, well, at least I got this password, just in case I wanted to... I barely made it here. I just want to reiterate that. I barely made it to this point. Like, this game is actually pretty hard. Not in, like, a fair way, but in a completely unfair way. You saw the walkway, but it is crazy hard. And I think they really had to rein in the difficulty and, like, amp it up for the second one, because they were like, first one's too easy. They're catching on. And you'd think things would be different, but now we're just underwater. So, alright. Thankfully, they have not taken our power-ups away. Unthankfully, I still don't entirely know what they do. Oh, no. So if you remember the boss, like, I could kind of just keep hitting him by, like, just pressing A. I'd like to think that maybe I was hitting A just slow enough that, I didn't trigger, like, the third power hit. But I think what the deal was is that boss was just coded to be easy. It's like sort of a penance for making you go through that disappearing platforms walkway level. The Zumaga Killer. That's quite the name you got there. Now the Hygog, that is an honest and respectable Gundam name, but Kazumaga Killer, that is a disreputable super robot name, and will not be tolerated. Oh, just in case you were feeling there weren't enough hidden pits, right behind those pillars is a hidden pit. So, thus ends my time with The Great Battle 2. Tune in next time for, well, actually, I'm not going to play the next one, I'm alternating, but the time after that will be The Great Battle 3. Will they continue on with this whole beat-em-up aspect? Will they go back to their adventure game roots? Will it be a quiz show game? Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know, and I'm kind of curious where this series could go. Now, unfortunately, I just played the second one, so I am cautious, but I'm cautiously optimistic about where the second one, third one could go. That being said, that's just about all the time we have here, so on that note, this cat's got a scat.